Welcome to the August 19th, 2025 meeting of the Village of Orland Park Planning Commission. If everybody would kindly stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll begin with our roll call. Commissioner Zatar is not here. Vice Chairman Schuessler.
Present.
Chairman Parisi, present. Commissioner John Paul.
Here.
Patrick Zapparelli.
Here.
Joseph Zatar is not here. Dan Sanchez is not here. And John Nugent?
Here.
Okay, thank you. We've all received copies of the minutes of the July 15th meeting. Board had a chance to review them. I will entertain a motion to approve them or any corrections.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schuessler.
move the meeting minutes for Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 be approved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Zamparelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I move that we open public hearings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, we'll begin public hearings with public hearing number 2025-0348, Costco Wholesale, 9915 West 159th Street, development petition for fuels facility relocation and parking improvements. Okay. Did we have something? No? Later? Okay. All righty. So, petitioner here?
Yes, we are.
Okay, we usually do is, these meetings are recorded, so we have to swear everybody in who's going to speak. So whether you planned on speaking or you think there's a good chance you might get called on, we'll have to swear you in. So if you would just kindly step up to the podium and we could swear you all in. Go ahead, Ann.
If you could raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight in this matter will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, who'd like, and your name and address, sir?
Absolutely. Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Larry Jurczyk. I am a Costco real estate project manager. I'm representing Costco Wholesale tonight. The application before you was filed under my office, the J&L Design Group, as applicant, and Costco Wholesale is the owner of the properties. My address is 1955 Raymond Drive in Northbrook, here in Illinois. With me tonight, I'll just introduce my team. I have my traffic consultant, Peter Reinhofer, with V3 Engineering, and I also have Dan Free, our civil engineer, stormwater engineer for the project. So before I begin, I would like to say that Costco is very excited to be here tonight. This is the result of almost probably over 2 years of working on this plan, on this property. The 6 acres that we'll be talking about, we've owned it now since 2022, I believe. And we've been working diligently with staff, with your outside consultants, internally with Costco on this plan. And so we're really excited to be here to start the whole entitlement process. Marcus, I guess I'll just give you a little thumbs up and we can move on to the next slide. Oh, you did? Excellent.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you. If I could get this right. Well, I think most of us know where the property is located off of 159th Ravinia at the northwest corner. What's in orange there is property owned by Costco Wholesale, 3 lots. Lot 1 is where the warehouse is situated today with the parking and the current gas facility. Lot 2 is the undeveloped parcel to the east of Ravinia, that's about 6 acres. Lot 3 is our stormwater detention area, which consists of about 17 acres. I've indicated there the proposed zoning, which is BIZ. Current zoning right now is a core mixed use. We'll go into more about the zoning and all the special uses that we're looking for tonight. Pulte is to the south, of course, and we have the cemetery to the west. And then we have a private residential property to the east of us, and then undeveloped land all the way to LaGrange Road. So what are we asking for tonight? We're asking for several different types of land uses. We are looking for a zoning map amendment. Currently, the existing gas is a legal non-conforming use in the COR district. And so we'd like to rezone the property so it's a permitted use. And that's the BIZ, the general business district. So we would like to zone all 3 lots in the BIZ district. We're looking for a special use permit for a planned development, special use permit to allow fueling facilities, and a special use permit amendment for buildings over 50,000 square feet, and a disturbance of a non-tidal wetland, which is a little confusing, but we're not actually disturbing wetlands, we're just having a road within 50 feet of the demarcation of the wetland. And so that triggers a special use, which we're asking for tonight. We're also asking, of course, for a site plan, building elevation, landscape plan approvals. And then there's certain modifications that we need relief from per your zoning code, which I'll go through. And then a platted dedication. Costco is actually dedicating land for the construction of the roundabout to the village of Orland Park. I won't go into great detail, but the requested modifications, some of them are basically self-explanatory. We're reducing the parking requirements required for a gas facility. We do not have a convenience store. There's no parking here. There's only 2 parking spaces for our gas attendant. We're also looking for an increase in the required parking for the main parking lot. We could talk about parking a little bit later. And we're also looking for a modification to allow a parking lot to be between a public right-of-way and the building. We have a current situation where there's a parking lot and the building's set back. We're not moving the building. So what's Costco's project goals and objectives here? And I apologize, it got a little lengthy when I wrote it, but in summary, it's safety. It really is safety. And what I've been doing with Costco for the last 3 to 4 years is looking at properties in the Midwest where parking expansions, parking relocations, gas expansions could occur. And it's primarily due to safety. Costco is concerned about the safety of the members and safety of the employees, as well as the safety of the neighboring communities and the village which we're located in. Without safety, our operations degrades. And so we also have seen backups on Ravinia and possibly some backups on 159th. And so these improvements are going to improve the safety and the well-being of our property. And it's going to allow us to continue moving on. Our business is growing. All Costco's are doing extremely well throughout North America. And so we're adding members every month. Our sales transactions are up. Our gas transactions are up. So parking is critical. Parking's part of the business deal with Costco. Parking, if there's not enough parking or inconvenient parking or hard to reach parking, believe me, we hear about it on social media. Costco and parking, and that's why people enjoy going to Costco's. It's the parking. Parking is really nice. So we talked about safe site and traffic circulation. And of course, for Costco's business, it promotes membership loyalty with good parking, with adequate gas and efficient circulation. We retain those memberships. And of course, we want to be a good neighbor. Costco's been here for almost 20 some years, I believe. 2006 was when the store opened. I know we got approvals in 2005. So We are a good neighbor to the village, and I know you see the same, it's reciprocal. You guys have been good to Costco. And so these improvements are, of course, important for the village as well as Costco. I'm just going to touch on the existing site plan. If you are a Costco member, you know where the gas is located at the northwest corner. It's a very small, one of our older gas facilities, has not been updated in quite some time. The building, of course, is at the southwest corner. The main entrance, of course, we got a right in, right out off of 159th, and we have an entrance off of Ravinia to the east, as well as a south entrance off of Ravinia. But the main entrance is that middle entrance off of Ravinia, and that's where we could see backups during the holidays and during the weekends. And these redevelopment plans completely change that. So the proposed site plan, as I mentioned, the different lots, sizes, we have about 39 acres with that additional 6 acres to the east. And so this plan here depicts where the gas is moving from. We are picking up the gas, and we're building a brand new station to the east, as well as providing a wonderfully designed roundabout that's going to provide access to the gas and to the warehouse and allow traffic to flow north and south along Ravinia. And Peter will talk more about how that roundabout actually works. But Costco looked at the amount of property that we would basically have to deed over or dedicate over to the village. And we're fine with that because we believe this is a win-win situation for the village and Costco. It really is. It's going to improve movements in the facility, as well as all the future development that's slated to occur down Ravinia. Pulte will be able to, all their residents will be able to get through. And most importantly, where the gas was, we're basically adding parking. We're going to gain 102 parking spaces. Right now, we have 763 parking spaces. The new plan will have 865. To give you kind of something to think about, all our new warehouses are a minimum right now of 900. 900 and 950. We have some out west now that are 1,000 parking spaces. So we start looking at larger pieces of property. This is an older piece of property, so we're looking at property that's a little bit larger, probably 3 to 4 acres larger than what we have here. So this is the best we can do, and I think it's a great plan. I don't think I'll dwell on the site plan context. This is just a site plan overlaid with the aerial photograph. We could always refer to this if we need to. Let's talk a little bit about the gas. So a lot has happened in the last 20 years with Costco's gas program. The facilities have grown, they've gotten larger, and what I mean by that is the lanes and the spacing of the pumps have also gotten a little bit larger. It's easier to move around cars that are parked in front of you to go on bypass lanes. For example, the current bypass lane is about 9 foot 2 inches. Now we're at 11.2, 11.6, 11.9, so quite a bit larger. You'll see that it's 20 pumps, 40 fuel dispensers. So this is our standard in the Midwest, 40 pumps. I'm sorry, 20 pumps, 40 fuel dispensers, 2 per pump. We have several under construction right now in Michigan, and we have several that are actually in operation out west. What we like about this plan and why we like this location is the queue. The queues are longer, the stacking distance. There will be virtually no possibility of backups going back into Ravinia. There's no interference with parking operations. We're now separating gas from parking, which is really one of the objectives of this gas plan. If the queue, for some reason on a Saturday, does back up, you can see that there's a long dual lane on the far east side of the along the eastern property line there, so cars could stack there. So we have I think I've calculated about 80 vehicles in the queuing area, and probably another 20 to 40 in the queue length. Ample, plenty of room, for this operation, for this location in Orland Park. The gas elevations for the architecture will resemble what's out there today. The metal is going to change a little bit. The metal is a little ribbed. It got a little character to it over the years. So this is our standard gas, hot off the presses, This is our standard model with the fuel. With the indicator light, that's something new. So at the lower bottom, you see that there's a green light and a red light. So that actually, when you're in queue, you know which pump is open and which one is occupied. That's something new that this facility will have. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward, contemporary-looking structure, horizontal, with masonry. Columns will be masonry. The kiosk, we call it the kiosk, will be masonry, and the colors will match the warehouse. So the architecture will be exactly what's out there today. Landscaping. We're really proud of landscaping. We believe the landscape at this location looks great. The plantings along 159th look really nice. We're going to extend that buffer, that density in front of the gas all the way to the east side of our property. We're going to fill in with shade trees and the parking lot islands. We're also going to extend the parkway trees along Ravinia. We're planting the entire 6 acres all the way around the curve to the farthest point of our property. And let's move on to the entrance. The entrance, we put a lot of attention to the entrance. We've now created this gateway with our landscape plantings on either side. There's some diagonal concrete amenities, I don't know what you want to call them, garden follies that are embedded in the plantings currently there today. We're going to pick that up and transfer it to the east side of Ravinia I think it's like a 60-degree angle with these concrete landscape plantings, but very lush, irrigated, of course, layering of plants. Our landscape architect is one that we use primarily in the Midwest, and she's absolutely fabulous with landscape plantings. Field facility, I talked a little bit about the plantings on the east side, heavy screen on the east side, on the north side, along Ravinia. We modeled the landscaping right after the City Hall plantings in the center circle. So it's lower plantings with some columnar, I believe they're English oaks. So visibility will not be a problem with this landscape planting. And then we'll have the stamped colored concrete for the other areas that will be mountable for trucks and field trucks. And we've done our turning radiuses and templates on this roundabout, and your fire truck will be able to make it through the roundabout. Our field trucks, our delivery trucks, any sort of trucks will make it through the size of this, and we work really carefully with staff to make sure that happens. And I talked a little bit about the landscaping. And then I'm going to turn it over to Peter. He can describe the roadway improvements at the entrances.
Peter, can we have your full name and address for the record?
It's Peter Reinhofer. I am with V3 Companies, located at 7325 James Avenue in Woodridge. So like Larry said, I kind of wanted to talk about some of the traffic improvements and the access, the existing access.
Can you raise the microphone up? Thank you.
So I want to talk about the existing access and what the proposed access plan for the site is going to look like. So currently there are 3 direct access driveways to Costco, one along 159th Street and 2 along Ravinia Avenue. So I'll kind of go through the 3 existing ones and then 1 proposed one in a clockwise direction, starting with the first one at driveway 1. We're calling driveway 1 is the current, the existing right-in, right-out driveway along 159th Street. We're not proposing any changes or any modifications to this driveway. It will continue to provide inbound movements for eastbound traffic on 159th Street and provide exiting movements for vehicles that want to travel east on 159th Street, so no changes there. Driveway 2 is a new driveway that we're proposing. There will be a right-in only driveway along southbound Ravinia Avenue. This is located a couple hundred feet north of the existing full access driveway along Ravinia. What we really like about this driveway location is it will have a right turn only lane. Basically, one of the lanes will force you to turn right into the site. The location of the driveway is so that when you turn into the site, you are aligned with the primary east-west drive aisle within Costco that travels in front of the roadway. I'm sorry, that travels in front of the Costco front door. One of the issues that we see at the existing full access driveway is when a vehicle turns into the parking lot, they're forced immediately with a decision point. Either turn left or go straight to kind of stay in that southern portion of the parking lot, or I have to turn right immediately to kind of get to the parking fields at the north of the building, which is where probably about 2/3 of the existing parking is. So with this new right-in driveway that aligns with that drive aisle, you turn into the site, you probably have about, I don't know, maybe 75 to 100 feet of no access where you can't turn anywhere. So you're traveling towards the Costco warehouse and then you can turn into the drive aisles to go to the northern portion of the parking lot. So we really feel that by providing that, we're kind of taking away that decision point within the parking lot that where vehicles slow down, and then all of a sudden the car behind them slows down, the car behind them slows down, and all of a sudden you have a backup on Ravinia Avenue, and that I've heard of sometimes even backed up almost to 159th Street during peak times. So we really feel that this right-in driveway will take that away. The driveway 3 is at the same location, similar location to where the existing northern driveway is, full access driveway. Obviously, we're modifying that to a roundabout. We've worked with staff very closely on location and design of this roundabout. We feel that this is a good option for intersection control here, with the gas station on the east side, the warehouse on the west side. There'll be a lot of east-west traffic from the gas station to the warehouse and back and forth. The roundabout has been designed to accommodate traffic from the Pulte development to the south, as well as traffic that will use the Ravinia extension in the future that I know the village is working on. So, the one-lane roundabout should accommodate future traffic. We look at 2050 traffic projections, work with CMAP, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, to develop traffic projections for the area. So we feel that the roundabout is a good option for an intersection control at this intersection. And then the fourth driveway is the existing full access driveway, the southern driveway along Ravinia Avenue. That will be modified to a right-in, right-out, left-in driveway once the Ravinia extension is extended to the south and to the east to LaGrange Road. It will remain full access until Ravinia gets extended. When it does get extended, Costco will come back, make the modifications within the median to prohibit the left turn movement out of that driveway to go north onto Ravinia Avenue. The next slide is basically just a summary of everything that I said. So I'm going to kind of hand it over to Dan now, who's going to talk about stormwater for the site. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dan Free with V3 Companies. Yep.
Dan Free?
Yes, Dan Free. Yep.
And are you a civil engineer?
Yes, he is civil engineer for Costco in the area. Address is 7325 Janes Avenue in Woodridge. Just want to go over a couple of things here. First, you can see the platted dedication. Won't go into this too much, but basically, the operations of the roundabout require a larger amount of land. So part of the development here will be to deed over this portion on Lot 2 where the gas station is going to be to the village so that they can maintain the access, the maintenance that's needed for the roundabout in the future. And then looking at the utility plan here that we put together, so the improvements that you can see here on the gas station, which is Lot 2, and then on the warehouse property on Lot 3, or on Lot 1, sorry. There's also, not shown on this plan, a water main extension that's planned for the north side of Lot 2 to extend the water main from Ravinia Avenue over to the east side of the property line so that any development to the east can access that water main. The addition of the gas station obviously adds impervious area to Lot 2. It's actually a reduction of what was planned originally when Costco mass graded this site back in 2006. And then the roundabout actually also, even though it has a larger footprint, there's less impervious area because the lane widths there's not the dual lanes going through there, so there's less impervious coverage based on from the roundabout itself. The proposed gas station was part of the overall drainage to the pond, part of the detention that was planned for that originally. And with this development, there will be an underground storage chamber for volume control. So that will help slow down some of the discharge coming from the gas station, and it will also provide an opportunity for water to infiltrate into the ground before proceeding to run off into the detention pond. So limiting some of that, the runoff towards the pond. This is meeting with both Orland Park and MWD's requirements for stormwater management. And this is above and beyond what was originally planned for this site because of the recent changes with the MWD ordinance. Ravinia Avenue is also tributary to the pond and also part of the detention storage that was provided there originally, and that drainage will continue to flow into the pond. And then the wetlands were discussed a little bit previously, but there is a wetland on the south side of Lot 2, south of that east leg of the roundabout. That will be, the wetland limits itself will be unimpacted, but the buffer area will be impacted by where the curb is. So we don't expect any concerns with that, but that's part of the special use. And kind of, let me go to this slide here. In looking at the overall tributary area to the Costco pond on Lot 3, south of the warehouse, I showed this image. It's a little hard to see, but this is the Cook County GIS contours, and basically everything from the southwest corner of LaGrange and 159th all drains westward. It flows through the property directly east of Costco, directly east of Lot 2. It flows into Lot 2, the wetland on the south side, and then it flows underneath Ravinia Avenue into the detention pond. Everything east of Lot 2 was not part of the detention pond, but the detention pond was designed to continue to allow that water to pass through. With the development of and ultimately that flows into a floodplain area at the northwest corner of Lot 3, and then into a series of ponds that then flow into Marley Creek. The pond modifications that we're looking at are to, I guess I'll touch base a little bit. I'll go back to this one. On the south side of the pond, there's been some significant erosion that has happened over the years since Costco was built. If you look at progressing aerials, there's the southeast corner of the pond has been silted in. What's now proposed is the Pulte development. A lot of that farmland has eroded into the detention pond and filling in some of that volume that was originally provided for. So part of the Costco development, you can see here, we're going to include dredging that out, removing that extra silt, and then providing the originally intended volume for this area. So that will provide, more volume than is there in the current condition. And then on top of that, you can see the Pulte improvements on the south side of this exhibit. They are going to be providing a volume control component as well, which once again, like we're providing on the gas station lot, will help reduce the runoff that's going into the pond that was originally designed to flow without any initial storage component. Another point on this area, that Pulte property, most of it drains in the current condition directly to the pond, but there is a few acres that flows into Ravinia Avenue. There's actually, during rain events, you can see quite a bit of very muddy water that's running from the Pulte property onto Ravinia Avenue. It's led to a lot of sediment buildup on Ravinia and water that pools on Ravinia and doesn't make it to the inlets as intended. So all the development that's happening here should help clean all that up, provide extra storage volume, and ultimately benefit the area. And then the erosion concerns associated with that property to the south will be mitigated with the development by Pulte.
Well, with that, that concludes our presentation for tonight. We're here to answer any questions by you, by the public.
Right. We'll go to our staff first, and then we'll go to the public. But thank you for a comprehensive and well-thought-out presentation. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'll go to our staff now. By the way, for people from the public, what we do is we go petitioner, staff, then there's time for public comment. And first of all, anybody who's here from the public, I want to thank them for taking the time to make an appearance here and let their feelings be known or just to be present. I appreciate that very much. People from the public will be an opportunity to speak. You will be given up to 3 minutes to speak, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. But that will be your only opportunity. Then it'll come to this commission, and it's not going to be a back and forth after that, But we will hear you. You will be heard. So staff?
Thank you. I'd like to begin by requesting that the staff report is entered into the record as amended during this presentation. So first, the requested actions tonight, and I know Larry did touch on many of these, would be the rezonings of lots 1, 2, and 3 from the COR mixed-use district to the BIZ general business district. The petitioner is seeking a special use amendment for planned development, 3 land development code modifications related to parking, special use permit for activity within 50 feet of a non-tidal wetland, a special use permit for automobile services, and approval of the site plan, landscape plan, and building elevations. So the project's located within our regional core planning district and is designated as regional mixed use. Surrounding the project area is residential to the north, vacant land to the east, a cemetery to the west, and the future Estates at Ravinia Meadow project to the south. So here's the comprehensive plan land use map, which shows that the property is designated as regional mixed use. Gas stations and automobile services are considered conditional uses within the comp plan with this land use designation. So currently the site has the existing warehouse, tire center, gas station, and their associated parking areas, and they have existing access from 159th and Ravinia Avenue. So the plan is to demolish the current gas station, convert that space into additional parking, add additional parking to the south of the Costco site, and a new gas station across Ravinia Avenue on the vacant parcel. So the first request is a special use amendment for a planned development, which is required for all sites or site plans that have multiple lots or land uses. Staff supports this request as the uses for the site remain the same. They're just currently expanding the gas station and relocating it across the street. So in order to expand the gas station, all lots within the planned development are required to be rezoned to the general business district as requested by the petitioner. This rezoning would be required for approval as motor vehicle services is prohibited within the current zoning district in the mixed use district. So the regional mixed use designation for the site, as said in the comp plan, is it supports general business district and COR mixed use district as appropriate zonings for the site. So staff supports the request for rezoning for the 3 planned development parcels. So going into our parking requirements, at the new gas station, there'll be 2 parking spaces and 40 stacking spaces with additional space beyond in that entry driveway. So the code currently requires 1 parking space per gas pump plus 1 stacking space. And Costco is looking for a modification to reduce that number by 38, as no parking is necessary on that parcel besides for the staff. And that is because typically the code is for regular gas stations that would have a convenience store attached, but since this one does not, we do not see the reason for that to apply. On the main warehouse parcel, there will be 50 new spaces added behind the warehouse to the south an additional 90 spaces where the current gas station is located, and there'll be a net gain of about 110 new spaces within the new roundabout configuration. So the proposed plan has 44% more parking spaces than the code requires, which would require a modification. Since Costco's parking demand utilizes all of its existing parking, we assume it would utilize all the new parking, so staff supports that modification. And the third modification is to allow for parking lots between the building and the street, and that is just due to the existing building layout. Currently, the gas station's in front of the building, and now that will be parking, it just kind of expands that nonconformity. The petitioner is also requesting a special use permit for the disturbance of a non-tidal wetland. The new gas station and proposed parking expansions do not involve any work within inside of the wetland boundaries, but any activity within 50 feet of a wetland requires this special use permit. And the original Costco approval from 2004, I believe it started in 2004, was approved in 2005, had that same special use permit. And a wetland delineation report has been completed and will be provided by the petitioner as a condition of approval for this case. So for our proposed roundabout, I know that V3 did touch on that. If Krashid would like to make a few remarks regarding our roundabout.
Thank you, Marcus and Commissioners. Just a few things that we wanted to mention is that this roundabout is also added to the design or requirement is to eliminate or reduce the congestion that we see at this intersection. I think we all have done that. So I just wanted to point that out. I know the petitioner had mentioned a few, but so as you can see at the top left corner, there is a direct access to the Costco parking lot, but then the roadway continues that allows a secondary access to the Costco store in case, for whatever reason, people have skipped that one. But then this way they can come in and they can go to the southeast part of the store. But the other purpose that you can see that the roundabout continues, but then if you look on the other direction, and I don't know if, Marcus, if you can zoom out a little bit, the roundabout has, if you go not going back to 159 northbound, it actually has 3 lanes. One right turn lane, one through lane, and one left turn lane. I don't know, Marcus, if you can show that picture or not, but.
Yes, I should.
Okay. So the point to that is that we're trying to keep the through traffic that will be coming from LaGrange Road once Ravinia Avenue is extended, that through traffic is not impacted. The traffic that will be coming out of the gas station and they want to go either right or left, they have their own separate lanes. So that's the other objective that you will see. And then you will also see that there is enough queuing that we have created in the gas station system itself that they, as they have it, that all the traffic goes in all the way to the north, and they make a U-turn, and that's how they access the pumps. But then when they're coming out, they all merge into one lane, and now they have one single lane to get to the roundabout, which allows them to either go towards 159, or if they want to go to the Costco store for other shopping, they have that option as well. So overall, what we're trying to show here is that we have been very careful to maintain as much queuing capacity as possible so that the congestion we have is not there. So one more element, Marcus, if you could show the roundabout west of, yes, can you zoom into that a little bit on the west side? Yeah, so if you look at that, as Peter was mentioning with V3, that on the way out, you can only come either from the north or south. So we have eliminated the third access to the exit, that you cannot come straight into it, which creates the most amount of cross traffic. So all of that, the purpose of that is to minimize the congestion at this location. It is a fact that it's a very busy store. I was just talking to Larry and the store manager. This is the second busiest store in the Chicagoland store. And in fact, I have asked them to make it number one in the area if that's possible. Then they said they will. So coming back to it is that so we have a high volume and a turnover. I don't know exactly how often this store turns over, but I know for a fact, like in Naperville, it at least turns over 3 times a day. Every space turns over 3 times a day, which probably it is here as well. So we have that built-in traffic here. That is the good part of it. But we have tried with this effort, with the gas station, that we address the traffic as best as we can. And I firmly believe that this is definitely a much better solution than what we have today out there. That's it, Marcus.
Thank you, Gurjeet.
Thank you, Gurjeet.
Okay, so, and Larry already touched on the building elevations, but I do want to mention that the proposed building, canopy columns, and the main attendant booth itself will be constructed with masonry materials, and that meets the intent of our building design standards. And the building will be heavily screened with landscaping from Ravinia as well. Overall, the gas station will look like a refreshed version of the existing gas station that's on the site. And an improvement to the site that Larry did touch on as well was that there is kind of a fuel availability indicator light that will be on the end of each column. So then you kind of know which pump is open, which queue you should enter into. And Dan already touched on stormwater management, but I just want to say that Costco will be responsible for all of the stormwater management improvements as part of their final engineering submittal, and this is one of the conditions of approval for this project. Additionally, because previously the Estates of Ravinia Meadow project was going to do the stormwater restoration, but that is now Costco's responsibility. The scope of improvements includes the pond slope regrading and adding naturalized landscaping to reduce the future erosion. And there will also be the volume control located at the northeast corner of that roundabout, as mentioned. Just touching on the landscape plan, so the improvements have been provided as a part of the project approval, including that entry feature that matches the existing landscaping at the 159th and LaGrange or Ravinia intersection. The new landscape islands are added to break up the parking areas and to meet our landscape code requirements. And then along Ravinia Avenue, a new 5-foot sidewalk extending all the way to the south end of Lot 2 will be provided. And additionally, there'll be parkway trees going all the way down to the end of that Lot 2, which kind of just completes the pedestrian connectivity and the landscaping improvements for Ravinia. And the current landscape plan meets the intent of our code and will be finalized during our final landscaping review and approval. And the preliminary civil engineering plan that was reviewed by staff and consultants is also recommended for approval. A final lighting and photometric plan have been provided for the site, and those will be reviewed during final engineering. This was mentioned in the staff report that there was a plat of subdivision. The petitioner is no longer seeking this plat of subdivision. It was a part of the stormwater management coordination with the Pulte development, but since that's no longer the case, this has just been stricken from the staff recommended action for this case. And for the staff recommended action, staff recommends to accept and make findings of fact as discussed at this meeting and within the staff report dated August 19th. And staff recommends approval of the zoning map amendment from the COR mixed use district to our general business district, approval for the special use of a planned development, approval for the special uses for motor vehicle services and for the disturbance of a non-tidal wetland. Staff also recommends approval of the preliminary site plan, landscape plan, and building elevations, subject to our standard conditions, plus the conditions that the final engineering plan shall include a water main extension from the existing water main located at the southeast corner of 159th Street and Ravinia Avenue, extending to their east property line on the gas station parcel, and that the stormwater management area restoration plan is submitted with the final engineering plans for this site. And the staff recommended motion is on screen. Thank you.
Carrie?
It has come to the attention of village staff that one or more of members of the public may be requesting a continuation of tonight's case. The Village of Orland Park opposes a continuation of this case for several reasons, including the petitioner has been working with the village for over 2 years in preparation for tonight's meeting. The petitioners have met the 15-day notification window as required by law. There has been ongoing development and reinvestment interest in this surrounding area from a variety of development teams for years. The representatives of 9801 159th Street have appeared before the Plan Commission in the past, most recently during Pulte's Estates at Ravinia Meadow development petition. Continuing the case at the insistence of one party prejudices everyone else who has appeared and is ready to go forward and would be inconvenienced if they had to return for a future meeting. And supporting this, the planned construction timeline to enable a single-season construction schedule. It's within the Plan Commission's power and discretion to either move forward as scheduled for tonight or continue to a future Plan Commission meeting. However, the village does oppose that continuation, or village staff. In consideration of the foregoing rationale, the Plan Commission should exercise its power to continue to consider the Costco case during tonight's proceedings. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we've heard from staff and the petitioner. Anybody from the public would like to speak? No? Okay, well, once again, thank you for appearing. So now I'll go to my fellow commissioners. Personally, I think it's a very comprehensive, well thought out plan. I mean, I read a very detailed traffic study, and you know, I just think it's been very well prepared and planned. But I'll go to my commissioners first, and I will start with our vice chairman, Commissioner Schuessler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we're here tonight hearing this proposal because of the success of this project for the last 19 years. I was on the village board when Costco proposed this project, and I voted for this project when it was proposed. Originally, Costco desired to build their facility to the east behind what formerly was Petey's Restaurant. In fact, I think they had a contract to buy that property, subject to soil borings, and soil borings showed that there was a significant amount of peat, and the owner of the property would not reduce the price, so Costco moved over to this site and eventually built the project there. I'm also a member of Costco. Frequently are at the store and buy my gas there. And because of that, I have occasion to note the problems that have developed with that site. And they're problems that have developed because of the success, because there's so many people that have joined Costco and shopped there, it's overloaded the site. And I'm sorry, Larry, I can't pronounce your last name. I'm just going to refer you as Larry. Larry indicated that safety was a primary concern, and I'm glad that you are concerned about safety, because the intersection right now, the main entrance and exit into Costco, which is a T intersection, presents a definite safety hazard. There are many near collisions there, and I've had a near collision there several times because people coming out, attempting to turn left to get to the traffic signal at Ravinia and 159th, seem to forget frequently that it's a 2-lane roadway and there are cars traveling in the eastbound side of that roadway going south to get to the southern entrance of Costco, and frequently things happen there. So my first question is, whose idea was it to do the roundabout? Who came up with the idea that we should do a roundabout here?
Well, Commissioner, that's a very good question. I mean, I know some of our earlier plans had a four-way stop, so we were looking at a four-way stop. A traffic signal was always off the table. Very good question. I mean, I know, was it Kershid's idea?
It was Village's idea,
Whose idea?
Village, the engineering department.
Well, whoever in the village came up with that concept, hooray. Okay. I was also involved in the first roundabout that was built in front of the village hall here, which, Illinois has always been behind the curve when it comes to road improvements. And people said, a roundabout, what is that? It's a problem and whatever. They've been proven in other locations to actually improve safety because you eliminate all those rear end collisions. If you have a collision in a roundabout, it's usually a fender bender where the left fender and the right fender of two vehicles, which doesn't cause as many injuries. It's much safer. Anyway, the stats prove it's much safer. So whoever came up with the idea, kudos to that person or persons, whoever it might be. So I'm very impressed with the fact that you're concerned about safety and that this will make it a lot safer. The other thing that I'm happy to hear is that the lanes will be wider in the gas area because that's another problem with the existing situation. As you know, right now there are, how would you describe it? There's two places there are two pumps in a row. And sometimes the car ahead of you pulls out and then you're sitting there waiting for the guy to finish pumping. And the tendency is to want to go into that center lane and go around. But it's so narrow and people don't always stay in their lane. Yep. And it's hard to get around. So you waste a lot of time. And that causes backups. And sometimes the backups, as you well know, the backups from the gas area end up in the lanes of the parking area. Then people can't get into the parking spaces. So this will definitely be an improvement with wider lanes, even though you have more pumps. The other thing I think that is noteworthy here is the fact that, and I think that the village should think about this for our two roundabouts. I see on the drawing, it's got a yield sign painted for the entrances into the roundabout. Every place there's an entrance into the roundabout, there's a sign painted in the pavement that says yield. Now, most people who use a roundabout know that you are supposed to yield to somebody in the circle, but there are always new people, and then there are always people that forget. So I think, Carrie and Marcus, I think you should talk to Public Works about considering doing that for our other two roundabouts in town, painting those yield signs on the entrances. I think it's a good safety feature. Okay, I had a question regarding stormwater detention. I don't know how many months ago it was that we approved the Pulte project, but we heard a lot about stormwater issues from this gentleman up here that owns the property adjacent to the gas, what's it called, Lot 2, that his property had been impacted by the Costco development because the pond wasn't operating as it should operate. And Larry, I think, indicated, or who was it? Dan. Larry or Dan indicated that the pond has a sediment problem that's caused by the Pulte property, which was designed to feed into that, but that's a vacant area, and the vacant soil has found its way into the Costco pond. So you indicate that's going to be dredged. That's great. But my question is, if Pulte's property contributed to that, why isn't Pulte contributing to the cost of fixing up the the stormwater detention pond. So perhaps Dan can talk to that, he's right behind you.
In terms of, there is an agreement in place. There's a stormwater easement agreement between Lot 4, which is now Pulte.
Yeah, which gives them the right to use that pond,
That's
because
right.
the land naturally,
That's
drains
right.
into that.
That's right. And there's also a maintenance section in that agreement that actually stipulates cost involved. So Pulte will be responsible for a certain
good.
maintenance cost. So there is a
Okay,
cost
I
involved.
didn't think it was fair that Costco bear the entire cost if Pulte's land is causing the problem. Okay, that answers that. Another question regarding drainage indicated that Lot 2, nothing is going to be built on the southern portion of it, which is wetland. How will that wetland be maintained? Is it going to be depressed in any way, or is it going to be just grass that'll be cut, or how is that going to be maintained?
It'll look very similar to how it does today. The intent of a wetland is to leave it as is, in order to leave it in its natural state. And so that'll continue to be a low area, and it's tied, it drains into the pond on the west side of Ravinia. So all that will maintain.
Is there any phragmites in that right now?
I believe there are, yeah.
Because that, over a period of time, if it's not attended to, it becomes very invasive and hard to remediate.
Correct, yeah, we do have an analysis of that. There's also Phragmites in the Costco pond as well. There's also a good bit of cattails, which are not the most desirable, but those are a native species.
Yeah, cattails are much better than Phragmites.
Yep.
Yeah, we were just out at the site yesterday, and there is a number of Phragmites. We were going to discuss it with them as a maintenance issue in final engineering.
Okay, thank you. Those are my only questions, comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Schussler. All positive points you bring up, and I agree with everything you said. How about Commissioner Zamparelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I have to say, I'm very impressed. Nice presentation. I agree with you on the parking lot. I think Costco's probably got the best parking lot I've seen. I wish it was a role model for all businesses. Plenty of room.
Thank you.
And thank you for such a wonderful business. Number one was the, what?
I said in all your sales tax.
They are wonderful. Where do the employees park? Where are the south spot there?
Well, so we've had a lot of discussions about where the employees park and where they should be parking and where they will be parking after this redevelopment. So part of the purpose of the additional 90 or 100 stalls to the south of the Costco building will be for employees. So the employees will be parking south and west and probably along the southern property line all the way to Ravinia, outside, away from the Costco building. And currently today, employees do park south of the gas. So they're.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Not those relevant.
They do.
They seem like they do a pretty good job, so I'm just more curious. Kudos with Commissioner Schussler. I thought that roundabout was a great idea. And kudos to the village. And there's always a backup. Every time I go there, when you first pull in, right where that roundabout is, and you're putting an island there, some trees, because that's the question. People don't know, oh my God, do I go straight? Do I go right? Do I go left? And they just sit there.
Right.
So I love that idea. The fact that we're getting a few more pumps is a beautiful thing, because there's a long wait sometimes.
I know it. I know. Thank you.
Parking lots, I think roundabout's a great idea. That's all really I could say that continued success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zamparelli. Commissioner Nugent?
Marcus, or engineer, and all of you. So the southern portion of the gas station lot is basically 100% wetlands. There's nothing left for them to expand even beyond the driveway down the road.
That is true unless you mitigate it, which is going to be pretty expensive, and I don't expect Costco has any plans to do that.
Okay, so they consider the lot that L's around to be 3, whatever. It drains remains northwest, is any of the part that's west of the existing building or west of the existing gas station eligible to be built on in the future? Or is that all wetlands? Like, can you have more parking to the west of the existing gas station?
Oh, of the existing, Dan, would you?
It'd be the northwest corner.
I know as the detention pond wraps around the
Be
building.
north of the pond that wraps around, yeah.
Right, yep, so,
Because
yeah.
you
on the-
control ownership of all. of it.
Correct, yep. And that's been looked at in the past. There's a couple issues with that. One, it's west of the main entrance off of 159th, so there's a safety hazard there for people trying to walk across there if they did try and put parking there. And then the other main concern is
Soil.
that there's, soil and floodplain. That area is actually floodplain in that it backs up from those ponds to the west. So yeah, it would be very costly to do that, and there'd be, safety concerns and other considerations, so.
So in this plan, you're not addressing any landscape or improvements to that, but it's not all wetlands. So it's like former farmland state is its expected continued state?
Yeah, that area was, I believe it was planted with a native mix when Costco originally built. They scraped it, whatever the existing vegetation was, to put in a new seed mix of native grasses. So, and yeah, the intent is to let that remain in its native state.
Does it ever, so the greater 1 mile radius of this, your issues with your soil, your land, including Pulte to the south, is an issue that even the village has on their property. But some of those sites get controlled burns or other maintenance. I've never noticed over the years you guys do anything with that, other than it looks like farmland that hasn't had anything happen to it. I didn't even realize you did plantings. So is that considered native plantings on that lot? And that's, it's, because I feel like if we're doing all the landscape and you're very proud of all you're doing, and there is a lot, I feel like we're ignoring that piece of land.
Yeah, I think there's a couple benefits. Well, one is a permitting concern with putting in like a manicured landscape into a floodplain area.
No, I'd rather be native.
And then just the native aspects, it helps with water quality, and they have deeper roots, so it's better for erosion as well. So that's typically in kind of those floodplain or wetland areas, we want to see those native plants.
I do agree, we want that. I know when this goes to our full board, one of our trustees is environmental engineer, and I know she'll care about that. But I'd like to feel that it's kind of like your detention pond to the back, like even today, we're gonna soon open up Pulte's neighborhood. And over the years, I kind of feel like the detention pond was built and created. It doesn't feel like you maintain around the detention pond currently.
Yeah, and actually,
And I feel like that's the theme as we go up this way. It's personal bias. My son is actually in conservation and he does controlled burns. He's tonight on a wildfire. I don't feel like, I don't mean this negative, I don't feel like we treat that like it's native plantings and you've been doing that. And literally down the road between us and you, the village does it. There's a townhouse complex that does it. And they're on the way to you. And I feel like it's just former farmland. So I was actually surprised to hear that there actually was plantings. And I do understand and respect native, and I'm totally supporting of that. I just don't feel like that's what you do.
yeah, I'll add on kind of the maintenance aspect. That was something that Costco neglected. When Costco opened, there wasn't a realization, a communication that Costco owned the pond. So Costco actually, for a long time, thought the village owned the pond. And there was actually a few years ago, they actually hired V3 to do an environmental compliance plan for all of the warehouses in the entire nation. And I was part of looking at this one and having a conversation with the staff and letting them know that, yeah, this is a pond that Costco owns and needs to be maintained to certain standards. And they have been since then doing incremental changes to maintain the pond. There was a lot of trees that were voluntary that were growing in the banks of the pond and causing issues. So they removed a lot of that. They've been cleaning out the flared end sections and the outlets from the pipes to make sure that water continues to flow through. So and then because there wasn't an understanding of the ownership, was part of the problem where there was the sediment issue. Nobody brought it as an issue because there wasn't an understanding of who
No,
was
and it feels like a
responsible
road
for
to
that.
nowhere, like some
Yep.
post-2000 South economic meltdown area that didn't finish getting developed. The property owners at 9801 talked about it with the Pulte development. They're here again tonight. And, you know, I know of a few instances in town where detention ponds just weren't reviewed and looked at. And we realized there's sediment, and Nick, not far from you, Persimmon Meadows or Glen, whatever they consider that one, that had to be redone like 10 years ago. So it does exist, it does happen. I just felt like with all of the extensive planning and you're doing here, this is an L. And I'm not hearing that the west to northwest, which is native, and it should be I mean, you don't look at it, but it's there, and it's gonna be a cemetery on the other side of it, so maybe nobody looks at it, but I would assume that Pulte wants to make sure you make it aesthetic, and if you have to go back to them. So that leads back to like now, and I realize there's gonna be Pulte construction. Like right now, there's no maintenance as it passes your southern point. So what was the maintenance plan going on? Is that gonna change after this? So between the sidewalk and the pond right now, native? Or is that grass? Because like even
That was meant to be turf grass, and correct, it's been totally overgrown.
that's native plantings, the stuff that's there right now?
Within the pond banks, but what's kind of between the sidewalk and the road, that's definitely been overgrown. And the roadway itself has deteriorated over the years. Part of that is just Costco
The
doesn't
road
actually.
ended, nobody was affected by except the back of them. So Ravinia Pulte is gonna be 800,000 plus. And if they build at the pace they are in Lemont, it's gonna be pretty well built. So you and Pulte are on the same page at beautification of this boulevard and the village? We're all on the same page? Because I assuming Pulte wants Ravinia, till it hits 9801, to be an aesthetic road. It looks like a lot of landscaping, but this is going to be, I want people who are entering a $800,000 subdivision to have a beautiful road. And so now it's no longer a road to nowhere. So we're 100% cool that this is what we want it to look like, and Pulte's on board too?
That's correct, yes. And with the stormwater management plan that they will have to provide during the final engineering, then there will be naturalized landscaping that meets the intent of our code that would look like our other ponds.
And I realize all of Cook County, us, we're at max water. I mean, I realized the last 3 months. Pond's pretty high today. So now we add Pulte and the gas station, and then when Pete's restaurant gets developed, this pond is ready, willing, and able to handle all additional waters that are coming this way?
So,
I know we had this conversation with Pulte, and Pulte's got a lot of challenging land. That's why they have their little areas and their walking paths. But ultimately, it's all going here on its way to go north and northwest, correct?
So, Commissioner, the Costco is going to stay in that pond, that's what they have. Not the entire Pulte is going into it. There's a portion, a majority of the Pulte's development is going to be feeding into this pond. But anything that will happen on PD's site or the roadway extension, it will have its own stormwater system.
And will eventually, because it seems grading goes west and north. So Pete's development, which would eventually extend, well, potentially if they ever sell, but if the road connects, is Pete's water runoff ever going west and eventually northwest?
So, again, we will, that is in a very, very early design stage. We will still have to take a look at it, how their stormwater system pans out and which way they can or cannot go, or if entire water has to come this way or what. But some water will come this way, I expect that, but not into this pond. It's part of the system, it's gonna flow through this pond into something else. Just like if you look at our pond here at the Village Hall, we get water from the south, comes into our pond, then next pond, and then continues into the downtown triangle that we have, and then the pond that we have, and then it eventually ends up into the McGinnis Loop. That's how it's so, all of our ponds are interconnected in one way or the other, and whichever way that gravity flows, that's how they flow it. But I do not have any expectation that this pond is going to take anything more than what these two properties are. I just want to make sure that you also understand that what Costco was built, this pond had the extra capacity that is now Pulte is using. That was part of the design. Even though there's some sediments has come into this pond, but it didn't come to the to that high level where it has taken away the capacity that it requires for a proper functioning of the system. Still, we are gonna make them clean out the whatever sediments that are in there, and then we're gonna treat the edging so that it does not happen again with the Pulte development. So all of that will be taken care of. Is there anything you have to add?
Yeah, I would just add that the Pulte development would actually help, because right now it's just very easy for the water to run off into the
Right,
ponds.
it's not going where we ultimately want it to. It's going where it wants to.
Yeah, and then when when you vegetate the land, when you provide storm sewer, we'll be able to direct it and provide better infiltration and reduce the runoff. So I think it's gonna be a net benefit.
As one quick example, and it does relate, 171st and 94th, the apartments, does any of their water go east of 94th Avenue
174.
into Orland Hills? The massive
No,
apartment
no.
townhouse complex?
No, that
Okay.
is,
So those ponds are not connected to us? As an example,
No,
those ponds are about to hit the street.
so all of our ponds are connected one way or the other because
Right, is that
eventually
one
they need.
connected to us though? Or are we,
With this system,
no, I just give you an example. So those townhomes weren't there 3 or 4 years ago. But that detention pond on the other side of 94th Avenue, which is technically in Orland Hills, that's been there for 25 plus years. The two sets of backstops that are in there today, I took photos today, it's almost to the top of the backstop. That detention pond there is getting ready to approach the street in Orland Hills. I realize it's technically across the street, but I'm just wondering as an example, did that townhouse development cause across the street to do more, or does our all go the other way? I mean, that's an example, when you add a large neighborhood next to something that's already there, that's where I'm making the connection. The detention ponds that run between 171st and 169th Place on the Orland Hills side of the road are max. It is low, but they have 2 baseball fields. You can almost see the water's almost hitting the top of the baseball field backsplashes. That detention pond is gonna max. The grass is starting to hit the street. Now, if we don't rain for a few days, I assume it goes down a little bit. I don't remember it ever doing that years ago, and we didn't have the townhomes. So like, I'm just using this as an example. I'm assuming that we're not connected to Orland Hills, but nature doesn't know that it's across the street. So I just want to make sure like that development does not rely on the detention next to it, because if it did, and we're doing that, that's an example of a failure that a new neighborhood can cause. That's why I'm worried about Pulte and Costco mixing here.
so the stormwater system in our town, and in fact in this area, as long as you're in Cook County, is controlled by MWRD, Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. So they control that, and these are interconnected. So if one pond, I cannot speak for what is Orland Hills is doing or not doing, if they are not maintaining their system, if the inlets and outlets are not maintained at the design level, you will see this kind of rise. But lately, we have had quite a bit of rain, that's true. But at the same time also, I would say all of the ponds have this like a design safety design that it's possible that these ponds, if we have a 100-year storm, they will go over capacity, and then they will have to go through what we call as overland flow. I mean, that's typical in all of our design, that anytime I cannot speak what you have looked at until I look at it, or some of our specialists look at it and cannot speak for that. But at this point in time, I can say the rain we have had, it hasn't reached where our ponds normally would go over capacity. It is a lot of water in there, even outside you can look at, it's probably at 75%, 70% of where you can see that as the culvert that we have to the next pond. But the water is still flowing. I mean, and in that system, we also have, technically between 48 to 78 hours, majority of water should go through. But there's so much water coming through, so I cannot speak what you're looking at, but I do not expect.
No, I was just using that as an example, and I realize that MWRD rolls over it, but this pond is, normally fine. It's not that high. It's pretty high today. And the issues right now is cumulative. It's not that, although we've had some real humdingers, including the last 4 days, it's still a cumulative of the last 3 months. I get that. But we're about to throw 180 homes next door. And, I just want to make sure this pond has capacity. And if you look at Pulte's design, the north side of that pond right there, that whole thing, and I'm sure he's going to charge extra, is all homes. So, their beautiful pond is going to be sold as probably premium lots. People are gonna look at that pond. I just wanna make sure it's not gonna overflow back to them.
And that's exactly what we have done, just for a factual correction. Marcus, that's 130 houses, not 180, correct? At Pulte?
Yeah, 132.
132. Just, I know that it's, but, so that's part of their, as a part of this condition of approval is that they will have to bring the pond back to its original design capacity. So trustee, one more thing that I would add, when this pond was originally designed, the rainfall data was less, like there was not as much rain was coming. Now we're getting more rain, so data shows us 14% more rain coming down. We translate that into 25% more water coming into the system. So we do have that factor into it, but I believe everything we are doing, it will accommodate whatever comes to it based on the current rainfall data.
Okay, so the family at 9801 led a discussion at Pulte that I remember Ed knows this, we were asking a lot of questions at the end. There was uncertainty at the end of Pulte's approval about the pond and the engineering and all the coordination. I assume in the last 120 days, with their finally being on board and Pulte getting their final, because I know Pulte's marketing, that we've worked all that out. Part of it, again, asking this, and I trust you guys are one of the best engineering staffs in Chicagoland, and they're a major corporation that cares. Part of it's for the record, for the 9801 people, if they ever sell, and the people that live in Pulte 2 years after they all move in, if they have issues, I want to make sure we spent a few extra minutes today and we said, yeah, you're not going to have any issues. And one reason I say that, in 2005, when Bunratty came on board, I lived in a newer home in Persimmon, and everybody in our section of Persimmon flooded. Bunratty got a 6-month suspension because the engineering was messed up. All the water was going in the wrong direction and flooded into Persimmon. There was a lot of mistakes made. So that's always been my personal experience. When I see this stuff, we're supposed to bring ourselves into it. I just want to make sure that Costco is really successful. This existing pond, is going to handle it. And I realize we're hitting this at a point where it's there, but I didn't mean to belabor that. I'm ready to switch gears.
Could I add one more comment just because it's getting on the record here? The design that they have, it meets or exceeds the current standards in the industry standards. So we are going to make sure, so that's what the design is, and that's what they're. As part of our next phase of work, we will ensure that what they build is what is in the design. So the intent of the design carries through into the construction. But one more thing that I want to point out from V3's report, and I'm just going to read it back to you. There are no anticipated adverse impacts to the upstream properties. That's a factual statement that V3 has made based on engineering reviews and all of that, engineering design. And we internally as well as externally, we have reviewed their design to ensure that that is what is in their design at the present moment.
Okay, and Marcus knows, everyone knows, there was some doubt at the end of Pulte. So I just want to make sure that all the doubts are removed, and I appreciate that. And I realize in public consumer polls, one of the 5 most trusted corporations in America is Costco. So I'm sure Costco values that relationship with the public and their consumers, but I just want to make sure, because I went by it today, the pond's kind of high. So, and there's going to be a lot, Pulte's going to crank out these houses. They said there'll be foundations poured in September or October. No, the roads maybe. But, there's going to be homes before we know it, that's all. Okay, just one little more thing from me. On the roundabout, the second entrance of the roundabout, including with the green and the red, I don't go to Costco much, my wife does, but when I've gone, I tend to go like on a Saturday afternoon with her, which is rare. That's why you want to go? No, I don't want to go. No, you go. But
I don't go.
You don't go on
I love the first entrance. The second one, maybe it's me, when I come in on the green arrow and I come on the second entrance, or even up here, when I go to the second entrance, am I turning right or am I turning left if I'm entering the parking lot? So I come from Ravinia, I skip your first entrance, which most people are going to pick that first entrance. But let's just say I know it's busy, I want to park at the back end. I go into the second entrance, so I enter the roundabout and I take the second entrance. Once I get in your parking lot, can I go right or left?
This one. So you're talking about, so you pass the first driveway, you enter the roundabout, you kind of merge to the right, and then you turn into the Costco parking lot.
Right, can I go right and or left?
Correct, yes, yes. So if you take the right turn, you almost make like a U-turn, you're going north, then you can access the north parking lots. If you turn left, you can access the south parking lots.
Okay, but except for the people that choose to go to the current gas station, everybody else is gonna exit to go out the roundabout.
Yes,
So I come in from the roundabout, your second driveway, and I can go both ways. I'm gonna counter everybody trying to leave the parking lot too?
yes.
That seems reminiscent of what you already do. That doesn't work on the exit part, not on the entrance part. And then when you're exiting, you know, like even the gas station, we got the long queue to get into the other stuff. The people that are exiting, if there's any traffic to exit, like let's say a lot of people coming in the circles doing whatever, I'm gonna be blocking people in those lanes of traffic. So I still have some traffic parking space issues, right? But we need the parking spaces so you have it. But, so if I exit, I could be anywhere in the parking lot and however want meander to the last island. So the one island, which is full of cars, which is kind of across from your tire service area, is really gonna be an exit lane, right? Even though it's full of, so you guys can really flow like on a Saturday or before a holiday. So people are gonna be parking in that whole lane on both sides, but there's almost gonna be constant cars exiting, right?
You talking about the drive aisle along the front door of Costco?
Anywhere here, this is the tire repair center.
Yes, right.
Anywhere here, and I wanna go here to exit. So I'm gonna go down this line. And there are times I've seen your exit, it's a parade. So everyone's exiting here. What about the folks that have parked here? They gotta back into all the people exiting? And you think that works? I'm not saying sarcastic, I'm asking
Yeah.
sincerely. So
That's-
this
yeah,
guy,
that's-
this guy is gonna back up. and
Right.
He's gonna back into the traffic?
Yes, I mean, like Larry just said, I heard of it, it's a standard retail operation. I mean, it's,
No, I know. Go to the Walgreens here when they're busy and
yeah.
wonder why there's not spot access there. Okay. And then, so the third entrance, so I can still enter here. And
Yes.
say, I want to avoid all that. I want to just park here anyway.
Correct.
Or if I'm going to be an employee and I'm going to my shift, I can go here to park in the back.
Yes.
Okay. And then last, this is kind of probably for 9808, but it's for the townhomes Centennial that didn't come. I can't picture your gas station overhang at night. There's some, if you take our Harlem Avenue up north into some of our smaller suburbs, some of those gas station overhang canopies look like they have landed from space with the light. And I know that we have high standards, but will anybody at Centennial Village be able to see this? Or would anyone at 9801, you're gonna set off a lot of lighting for that canopy. Sometimes you see gas station canopies that are obnoxious. All lighting's gonna be.
All the lights are, you know, they're recessed cans pointed downward. There's nothing that's going to project past the property line.
Costco or that decorative part is not gonna be lit, right?
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
No. Just some small LEDs where the Costco wholesale
I just don't want
sign is.
people at Centennial
Yeah.
looking at that at night. and
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah.
Okay.
All new, yeah, all the pole lights proposed will be LED fixtures with the cutoffs pointed downward.
I know there's a lot. I'm done. Thank you for everyone.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
Just a question for Larry. Larry, the gas station closes at 9 o'clock, correct?
Let me verify.
10, I think. It's 10.
10, okay.
10 o'clock.
And then the lighting gets lighter, I take it, when there's nobody there? What lights? Will the, do you, it goes all the way down, or just? Yeah, okay. All right.
Hey, thank you. Give Commissioner Paul an opportunity here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick things. As far as the gas station, I'm just trying to visualize this. As the cars come to the pump, are they all facing the same way?
Yes,
Okay.
they
so
have to be.
some-
Yeah, they're all coming from the north, facing south.
That's kind of what I was.
Yeah.
I was trying to,
Yeah, if we could,
thinking
yeah,
like-
Marcus, if we could go.
some people go one way, some people go the other way, depending on where their pump thing is, but, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, all one fluid motion counterclockwise.
Okay, that would be a good flow in and out of there without, okay, that's.
Absolutely.
Right. Again, you guys answered a lot of questions and you put a lot of detail into this. I think it's a good idea. I like the idea of the roundabout. Some people are gonna have to figure it out, but there's people that can't figure out four-way stop signs now. Those have been around forever, so that's a better option than four-way stops. Traffic will flow much smoother. You won't see as many, maybe in the beginning as people try to figure it out, but they'll figure it out. As far as adding more parking spots, makes sense. Costco isn't a store where you walk in and get a loaf of bread and walk out. I mean, there's no public transportation, so pretty much anybody shopping there is gonna have a car. You don't bring your bike to get 6 boxes of stuff.
You do not.
I hope not. So, yeah, that makes sense to add the parking spots. Essentially, we're taking a gas station on one end, we're moving it to the other end. I don't think that's a problem. The only people I thought might have had an issue with it were the developers of the townhouses. They don't seem to have a problem with it because they're not here. So, let's see this picture. Yeah, I mean, there was a comment earlier about postponing the decision. I heard reasons why we shouldn't. I don't know why we should. So I'm okay with us voting on it tonight, and whichever way it goes, it goes. But, no, that's really all I have. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Thank you.
Commissioner Parisi?
There's,
Yeah, right here.
oh, Kershid, yes.
Yes, so I know you have to make your comments, but I just have one item because the store manager is here.
Please, go ahead.
So, because it has been mentioned where the employees would park and what our preference is that they park on the south side and on the west side. But to have it on record, because the store manager is sitting in the room here, I would appreciate if he could come up and give a comment on it so that it's part of our permanent record.
Okay.
Bob Lasoya, general manager over there at the Costco across the street. And yeah, that is the plan. That's the additional parking on the south side. So we'll have plenty of parking between the south side and the west side. Should be enough parking, no problem. Especially with our rotating shifts.
Good, okay, thank you. Okay, well, had a lot of discussion, had an excellent presentation, a lot of great questions from my fellow commissioners. And, you know, at the end of it all, I too, have a high regard for Costco's reputation and the way they do business and the way they plan this and their, their attention to safety. And so I won't add anything else other than I would entertain a motion at this point.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask one more question?
Please?
We've had a lot of discussion about stormwater. And of course, when the Pulte project came in, there was even more discussion about stormwater. My question for the staff is, the gas station is being built on Lot 2. How much of the water comes from the east of Lot 2, which would be the lot that's owned by these people that are sitting in front of us here? How much of the water off of their property ends up in the Costco pond? All of it or part of it, or what are we talking about?
None of it.
Right now, I'm talking about right now.
So right now that the topography of that area is somewhat flat to sloped east to west. So if you look at how that site is laid out, we have, I think you have a plan, and even you had that too, V3 had that too, you can take a look at that. But in general, it's flat to where the water moves from east to west, meaning it moves towards the Costco property, and then it goes into that wetland, and then from there it crosses the Ravinia Avenue through a culvert, then it goes into the pond, and then continues on into Marley Creek. That's how overall it is. For future, we don't know what kind of development might happen in that property, the Mr. Shermack's property that you're referring to, so we cannot speak for that until then. But right now, it's in general either stays flat or it moves from east to west.
Okay. The other thing I think is noteworthy that I forgot to mention when I was making my comments known, I'm happy that the staff has asked Costco to extend the water line across the gas station, the new gas station property, so that when the property to the east is developed, they'll have access to water. So that, I think that's noteworthy.
Yeah.
With that being said, Mr. Chairman, I would make the motion regarding case number 2025-0348, also known as Costco Wholesale Gas Station Relocation and Parking Improvements. I move to approve the staff recommended action as presented in the staff report to this Plan Commission for this case.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Schussler, seconded by Commissioner Zamparelli. Commissioner Paul?
Aye.
I'll say aye. Commissioner Schussler?
Aye.
Commissioner Zamparelli?
Aye.
Commissioner Nugent?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you all. Thank you very much. I move that we close public hearings.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I don't know that we have any other business. I don't think we do.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Suso, second by Commissioner Zamparelli, that we adjourn at 8:32 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Once again, thank you all. Thank you, staff.